Do you want to learn effective ways to build relationships, generate sales, and grow your business from successful entrepreneurs, startups, and CEOs without listening to a long interview? If so, you've come to the right place. Gresham Harkless values your time and is ready to share with you precisely the information you're in search of. This is the I Am CEO podcast.
Hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have two very special guests on the show today. I have Braun and I have Avery Chatman of the Mind Shape podcast. Gentlemen, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. Super excited to have you on. And what I wanted to do was just read a little bit more about Joey and Avery. And Joey and Avery are two men who had never met before, but both share the passion of helping people change their lives. So they decided to create a podcast. Joey and Avery, are you ready to speak to the I Am CEO community?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's make it happen. So to kick everything off, I wanted to hear a little bit more about what I call your CEO story. What led you guys to get started in the podcasting world?
All right, I'll kind of start it off and Avery can kind of give his take as well. But I started a podcast a while back. I just wanted to start something to help people. And, I had no listeners. No one was really look at our stuff or listen to it. So I decided to bring it back after I gave up for a couple months and actually DM'd Avery on Twitter. And I asked him, if he wanted to be on the podcast because I saw the motivational videos he made and they hit me hard and they inspired me. So I was like, dang, this is someone that I want to do a podcast with. This guy's inspirational, he's motivational, and he'd be a great co-host. So that was like how I initiated that with him. And he can kind of tell his side real quick.
Yeah. So one day, I'm looking on Twitter and I get a DM from this random guy and he's like, hey man, I love your content. And I've been thinking about starting something. I don't know if you'd be interested, but I kind of want to just run it by you if you see my message. And of course, I saw his message and I responded right away. And he started diving in saying he had a podcast, I guess a few months prior and things like that. And that I would be a perfect fit to, help him and help him out with the podcast he had started. And from there, we brainstormed a lot of ideas and we got to know each other a little bit more, and then we just started recording, just like no script, no anything, just off the top of the head, just whatever we wanted to talk about. We thought of a topic and we just started talking, and from there it's been growing, it's been building, and I'm really excited to see where it ends up. But that's basically the start of our story, I would say.
Yeah, man.
Nice. I appreciate that. And the power of DMing. And, we never think that, we can have a potential partner for a podcast or whatever, but you have to, go through the DM, shoot that shot, so to speak, to kind of make that happen. And I love the fact too, because I think a lot of times one of the big benefits I've gotten, from podcasting is that you get the opportunity to connect with people in the network. But I think, even on a deeper level, it sounds like with you guys, you've been able to co-host a podcast and develop relationships with each other, as a result of doing this podcast together.
No, 100%. Yeah, I'm definitely looking to meet Avery in the future here shortly. I definitely want to actually meet him and get to know him a little bit more.
Yeah, you guys are going to have to go Facebook Live or something like that. That would be awesome.
Right, yeah.
Well, cool. So I know we touched on it a little bit. I wanted to hear a little bit more about your podcast. Tell me what you guys are doing, what you guys are talking about, and all the awesome content you guys are putting out.
Yeah, Avery, go ahead and tell them.
Right.
So, on our side.
Yeah. So we have, each week there's a different topic. We put out videos that are motivational, inspirational. We also have, guests on the podcast that, they tell their stories. Sometimes we'll have artists, such as singers, writers, promoters, and things like that. And, and then we'll just have everyday people as well. People who are, just like me and Joey, just like me and you, people who just have a story to tell. And I think that's what's really unique about our podcast is, we don't have all of the big name stars on it. We don't have celebrities. We want people to relate to it on an everyday average Joe type of level, but we want you to be inspired to, do more than just everyday society things. We want you to pursue your dreams. We want you to go chase whatever you're after. And I'm sure Joey has more to add to this as well.
No, yeah, 100%. Avery just described everything I was going to say. And we just want it to be authentic, from the heart. And we don't want it to be totally scripted or anything like that. We just want authentic conversations with people because that's when you really can be yourself. sometimes people get caught up in like the interview and they can't be themselves. And we just want people to be themselves, be authentic, and have that ripple effect onto other people.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And that's why, I love this medium as an opportunity to kind of do that, because you can, have that mic and you get to kind of talk, to yourself. And I don't know if you guys find the exact same thing. I think especially like you guys have talked about those stories and that piece. I feel like we find when I hear stories, sometimes we're a lot more alike than we sometimes think we are on the surface. When we kind of drill down, you hear somebody's story, you hear the trials and tribulations they might have gone through. It kind of helps to bring us together. I don't know if you guys find the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And that makes perfect sense. And I know you touched on this as well, but I wanted to ask you for what I call your secret sauce. And it could be for both of you guys individually or for your podcast. But what do you feel kind of sets you apart and makes you unique?
I feel like we just touch upon it a little bit, which is the authentic factor.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like outside of our podcast, we're also doing other things, making our faces known, giving videos out to the people. So it's not just audio. It's not just someone. We actually give our authentic selves out there, and we don't just like, hide a little bit. So you see some podcasts where they don't really put their face out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes us authentic, because at the end of the day, I mean, we're not going to change the world, but we can change the world of individual people's lives. And that's important. What do you think, Avery?
Yeah. And to go along with what you were just saying, Joey, we're interacting with our listeners, we're asking them questions. We're talking to them about topics they may want to, hear about and things like that. And it's not just from a standpoint of we get a bunch of ideas and we just go from there. We're having full on conversations with people about what they're going through and what they want to hear about to, really key on things that everyday people go through so it's more relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely feel, and I don't know if you guys find the exact same thing, especially with that video piece, you get the opportunity to really, get a behind the scenes look and kind of give you that additional touch point, I guess you can say. So you can have that authenticity, that relatability that you guys kind of spoke to.
Yeah, 100%.
Nice. And I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I wanted to ask you guys for what I call a CEO hack. And this could be an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but what do you guys think makes you more effective and efficient?
Avery, go ahead and start with this one.
Okay. So for me, I think it's, having a set schedule and sticking to that schedule. For me, I wake up, I start off by praying, thanking God for another day. I meditate, I go for a run, I work out, I have breakfast, and then I start my day. And it's a way to just clear my mind and just, get into a routine and be able to just jump right at it. I think that is very beneficial. Another thing that most people hate doing, but I do, is I make my bed every day. And a long time ago, I'm not sure if he was a general.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know the video.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Joey?
Yes, I do too.
All right, perfect. Yeah, and so I saw that video, but my entire life, I don't know why, I've always wanted to make my bed. It was just a weird thing I did and I've always done it. But after listening to what he said, that's the first thing you accomplish of the day. You got your first accomplishment done. So I think when you have a set schedule and you get those things done, you're setting a path where you're constantly accomplishing things. And I think that's the biggest thing you have to do to be successful as a CEO. You have to set a path to where you're constantly accomplishing things throughout the day. And I mean, once you do that, you're going to stay on track to become one of the most successful people in your mind. As long as you're successful in your mind, that's all that matters. So.
No, I really love that. What Avery just said is like something that I literally do too. Super important. The morning routine especially gets you starting off the day with wins. And we always talk about celebrating your little wins, because it's the little things that matter the most. And that's what helps you build this kind of momentum. People think you have to do this huge thing, but it's just the little things every day that compound into results. And I've always chased the big thing, but once I started focusing on the little things, the big things seem to just happen with consistency. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of seems, and I can't definitely speak to wanting to make my bed in the morning, but I saw that exact same video, and it definitely does give you that type of energy, just as you guys kind of spoke to, because once you start getting those small wins, it's like an energy starts to make a magnet, so to speak, where you start to see those medium things start to happen, then those bigger things start to happen, and all of a sudden you're starting to crush your dreams and your goals.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, I totally agree with you on that. So.
Nice. And so now I wanted to ask you guys for what I call a CEO nugget. And this is a word of wisdom or a piece of advice. Or if you can hop into a time machine, what would you tell your younger business selves?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a tough one. I mean, I am just in the beginning of the journey, but I would say to don't look at like the results, just follow the process, because the results aren't going to be there at first. They're not, but the process and the journey and overcoming fears, overcoming bad habits and building better ones, it's all part of the process. And I think you find personally that's what really is so awesome, is that watching that progression of yourself. What do you think, Avery?
I think I'm going to go just off of what you said. And I think you said overcoming those fears, and those bad habits. I think a lot of us give up at certain times because we are fearful of certain things. And we do have some bad habits that we don't want to get rid of. And so what I would tell my younger self is, all of the haters, the doubters, the complainers, the people who look down on you, you have to ignore them. Don't absorb what they're saying. Don't let them, project your future. Don't let them tell you what you're going to do or what you can't do, because I think that affects a lot of people to this day. A lot of people don't accomplish certain things because they're scared of what their peers might say or people around them might say. So I think the fear and overcoming bad habits is a great point, Joey.
Well said.
Definitely. I would agree with that. And I appreciate you guys even, in talking about how you created this podcast, because I think a lot of times we become a product of our environment. And if a lot of people are your haters or your naysayers, or they have their own limiting beliefs and they put that on you, then all of a sudden you kind of feel like you can't, do that. But you guys, like you kind of touched on in your story, wanted to create this podcast, and then you reached out to you created that environment that allowed you guys to both propel each other, which I think is something admirable and something we all need to take hold of.
Yeah, didn't think it would happen, but without that action of me trying, this wouldn't be possible. So always thank Avery for coming and joining me. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been a great ride. And I mean, we're going to keep it going. We haven't run out of gas yet. So.
No, definitely not.
There you go. Just getting started. So I definitely appreciate that. So now I wanted to ask you guys my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Avery, Bradley, what does being a CEO mean to you?
What does being a CEO mean to me? I think it's basically everything we talked on. It's setting a path, setting a goal for yourself and reaching it and accomplishing it. But while you're doing this, you're bringing other people along with you. You're reaching new heights and you're teaching people that are looking up to you how you can accomplish your goals. I think it's more than just, the hype around being the boss, being the lead guy, being the head guy. I think it's bringing other people up, teaching the people below you, encouraging them, inspiring them to do great things. I think that's what being a CEO means to me.
I like that. And Joey, what do you have to say?
I was thinking about this question because I saw them when you sent the preset questions, and I think I look at it as, for me, being a CEO, I changed it to Chief Emotional Officer. So that's me being in charge of my emotions at all times, because I believe that emotion drives energy. And when you're a CEO, you need to have that energy and the right emotions so you can lift other people up in your company and make sure you are coming every day to the best of your ability. So if my emotion isn't there, then my energy isn't there. So that, to me, is probably the most important thing when I'm defining a CEO.
Damn, I love that. I love that.
That is
trying to be like you when I grow up, Joey.
That is definitely a mic drop definition. And I definitely appreciate that, because a lot of times, when you get emotional, you get so angry or you get so happy, it's hard to control that. It's hard to be in control of that. So wherever that goes, that's where you're going to end up. And a lot of times you have to be in charge of that. You have to be that chief energy officer, emotional officer, so that you can be able to kind of control that to make sure you're going exactly where you wanted to go. And you, like you said, Avery as well, you have to be able to kind of inspire people and to make sure that you're charting the course that you want to for yourself, but also for many people that are listening, looking, and following you.
100%. Avery's was on point.
There you go. 2 mic drops. So I appreciate both of you guys for your time. I appreciate all the awesome things you're doing and all the awesome things you're creating. I wanted to pass you both the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know. And then, of course, how best they can get a hold of you and subscribe to the podcast.
Avery?
Well, I think I'll leave you guys with this. Just go chase it. Chase your dreams. Go after it. you can be a CEO. You know, you can accomplish whatever you're looking to accomplish. You just have to stay the course.
Yeah, we're going right off him. Trust the process. It seems that we're afraid to take action and just take the first step, because through experience, we learn the most. And despite what people say, just keep focused, keep going, do what you want, because you don't want to regret it. Let's be honest. And if we can do what we want to do and live our dreams or even chase them, we'll end up somewhere great. So that's what I have to say.
Nice. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, that's some of the worst things are having regrets. And so one of the ways you can kind of deflect that is just by trying. Even if it doesn't go as you wanted to go, at least you tried, and you guys have that. So thank you. Great words of wisdom. And people that want to subscribe to your podcast, find out about what you guys are doing, what's the best way?
Yeah, go to our Instagram. It's at Mindshape Podcast, and we have a link there that takes you to Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, anything you want to use, listen to it on, or just go on Apple Music or Spotify and type in Mindshape under podcasts, and that'll come up. So go ahead, leave a review, give it a listen. We look forward to your feedback.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. And we will make sure to have that link in the show notes so that you can follow up. And just like they said, make sure to leave a review. Those are always great for us as podcasters. So I appreciate you guys again, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you for listening to the I Am CEO podcast powered by Blue 16 Media. Tune in next time and visit us at IAM424.co. I Am CEO is not just a phrase, it's a community. Be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. Subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating. Grab CEO gear at www.ceogear.co. This has been the I Am CEO podcast with Gresham Harkless. Thank you for listening.